And now, our feature presentation.
To infinity and beyond!
My name's Bond. James Bond.
That little pig.
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
Show you with the box. Who's in the box?
Damn! Ew! Get off of me! Ugh,
A lot of people go to college for 7 years.
I know. They're called doctors.
Houston, we have a problem.
Mother, there is no other like mother, so treat her right. Treat her right. Treat your mother right. Now, treat her right. Treat her right. Treat your mother right. It's Mother's Day, just in case you didn't know.
For all you mothers out there.
For all you Kathys, Karens, and Deborahs out there, happy Mother's Day. That's what all moms are called, I'm pretty sure.
Big name drops there, man. I think you hit everybody, didn't you?
Seriously, if I didn't, I covered, I think at least 75% of all mothers out there with those three names. With a certain demographic of child. If you have millennial children, that's your name.
I love it.
No joke, though. Happy Mother's Day, Joseph. How are you doing today?
Thanks. I'm, just living the mother's dream over here.
You are one bad mother. Shut your mouth. Anyway, this is not our normal thing, but happy Mother's Day to all of our 52/1995 watchers, slashers, whatever they may be. Welcome in to 52/1995, your live movie conversation podcast, where we dive deep into the movies of 1995. I'm your host, Cody, and I'm thrilled to be joined this week by my fantastic co-host and one bad mother again, Joseph.
That's me.
That's him. For those tuning in for the very first time, we are so glad that you're here every week, 52 weeks to be exact. We explore a different film from the year 1995. It could be a classic hit, a quirky gem, something else movie. But we dive into this year's important releases. We discuss them in details. And we share our thoughts and experiences with the current movie. Our current theme is, let's see if I can do this again. It didn't work, or it did work last year, so we'll just go ahead and share it. And
A white man? No!
all right. It makes me laugh.
It adds so much more when you see it,
It's so good. That is our theme this month for 52/. We do that kind of, we have themes every month that we go through. And this one is, a white man. Because all the movies that we're talking about are just about white men and those dastardly deeds that they do as those white men. And Joseph has agreed to join me again this week, 2 weeks in a row. So you all are very lucky to be witnessing this.
Something like that.
Something like that. But before we jump into this week's movie, let's ask Joseph. Have you ever seen the movie that we're talking about today? It is called Dead Man Walking. I don't know if I mentioned that, but had you ever seen this movie or heard of this movie?
Neither on all accounts. Never seen, never heard. Missed me just like last week. I don't know. I guess there was a span there in 95 that I just didn't see anything.
I mean, I don't think these were the kind of movies that we were looking for in the 90s.
Yeah, but even later on, I feel like this is something that would have. Rob Roy, I guess I understand a little bit more because of the shadow of Braveheart, but this one I feel like should have been something that
I think, because you're a Grisham guy.
Yeah.
And this kind of lines right up with the Grisham, like The Chamber or Time to Kill, somewhere in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Are you more of a Crichton guy or a Grisham guy?
Well, if I had to choose, it would probably be more of a Crichton guy traditionally, but I think I own more Grisham novels. I don't own a lot of books. But the one thing I do, few books.
But the one thing I know about you is that the books that you do read were Crichton, Grisham, like that.
Yeah, especially as a kid, or a young adult. Those were my two big authors, if you will.
Yeah. So you're my guy on this kind of stuff. But I get it too. But I do think that there are movies that you and I have both seen that kind of either tackle this or make it more magical in a way too. Like I don't want to say magical and give away too much. You know exactly what I'm talking about, though, right?
Supernatural.
Yeah, a little supernatural to it. That kind of means I don't have to go back and watch this movie. But I am glad that I watched this movie. And didn't realize how much critical praise and award that it got during this time. So it is a good one that we are watching, and I look forward to talking. Even if even if we have a brief conversation about it, I think it's good to at least acknowledge this movie and talk about it some more. So let's do that, and let's get into it. So the title of the movie again is Dead Man Walking. This is probably the latest release movies that we do this year. So this one is December 29th of 1995. It is directed and written by Shawshank Redemption star. So that's another one. See,
Shawshank. I feel like I should have heard of it.
Shawshank Redemption star Tim Robbins. He both directed and wrote this. It is based on the 1993 book by Sister Helen Prejean herself, who we'll get into. The cast includes Susan Sarandon as Sister Helen Prejean, Sean Penn as Matthew Poncelet, Robert Prosky as Hilton Barber, Raymond J. Barry as Earl Delacroix, Arlie Ermey as Clyde Percy, Celia Weston as Mary Beth Percy, Lois Smith as Augusta Borg-Prejean, Scott Wilson as Chaplain Farley. This also has appearances from Margot Martindale. We've seen her a few times in some movies. Clancy Brown, also famous for Shawshank Redemption. Peter Sarsgaard in his first role. Not a very big role, but he is in this movie. It's his very first one. Jack Black is in this movie randomly as one of the brothers of Matthew Pond. I think is he a brother or a cousin?
I think it was.
I think you're brothers, right? I think they're all brothers. Yeah, he's one of the. And John Abrahams as one of the brothers as well. He's probably more famous for the movie Scary Movie. If you've ever seen Scary Movie, he's the main antagonist in that movie. Anyway, the synopsis for this movie, if you've never heard of it or didn't watch it, it is as death row inmate Matthew Poncelet nears his execution date, he calls upon Sister Helen Prejean to help him with one last appeal, maintaining that he is innocent of the murders of a young couple. Poncelet begins to form a bond with Prejean, and she visits both his family and the relatives of the victims, hoping to learn more about the case. As things begin to look bleak for Poncelet, Prejean does all that she can to comfort and console the hardened convict. This movie actually did pretty well at the box office because it had a budget of only $11 million, but it made $83 million. So
nice.
Pretty good for a movie like this. That definitely doesn't happen nowadays. Rotten Tomatoes has this score at 95%, IMDb at 7.5, and Letterboxd at 3.7. Roger Ebert, not Roger Ebert, gave it 4 out of 4 stars. He said, after seeing Dead Man Walking, I paused outside the screening to jot a final line on my notes that says, this film ennobles filmmaking. That is exactly what it does. It demonstrates how a movie can confront a grave and controversial issue in our society and see it fairly from all sides, not take any shortcuts, and move the audience to a great emotional experience without unfair manipulation. What is remarkable is that the film is also all the other things a movie should be: absorbing, surprising, technically superb, and worth talking about for a long time afterward. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Tom Keogh of Film.com didn't feel the same way. He said that Robbins, who also wrote the script, is no Truman Capote, let alone a Victor Hugo. And his film trips up constantly on indecisiveness about what it is he's trying to say. So kind of saying the exact same thing that Roger Ebert says about not, taking any side, like viewing all sides. He didn't like that. He wanted him to take a stand. So who knows? This movie was nominated for 4 Academy Awards: Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Original Song. And it won one of those. Susan Sarandon wins for Best Actress in this movie. So
Jack Black didn't win Best Actor?
Did not get Best Actor, surprisingly. I think he's going to get nominated for Steve. in Minecraft.
You think so?
I think so. I think this is
I
his
hope
year.
so. I still haven't seen it, but
All I know is about Steve's freaking lava chicken. That's all I know. That damn lava chicken. I know. Happy Mother's Day.
Minecraft stream after this.
Minecraft? You guys want to play Minecraft? All right, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's do it. Tell me about your notes. What are some of the best scenes in this movie? And I had a little trouble with this.
Yeah. Well, we open up on 1713 Scottish Highland. Wait. Sorry.
I just realized that the F Mary kills in the chat already.
The Chad's hungry for it.
I guess.
That's okay. We'll see.
Bold move.
I thought the movie did a really great job of setting up Helen, Sister Helen, and like diving in pretty quickly to her connection with Matthew. Like just starting off with like a random letter, I guess, to her. Was it to her personally, or was it to just like her organization that she's working there with, or?
I think it was to her personally.
Okay.
But I think probably because of the organization that she works with.
Gotcha.
So I think she probably has some notoriety. That's what I'm assuming anyway.
It makes sense. Especially if you're doing the kind of work that she's doing. Like, you get some claim there.
Let me stop you real quick. Have you ever been in a prison? Like not been to prison. Have you been in a prison or done anything?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's I have done it once. Maybe a couple. No, I think I've been in
How many times you been to prison?
I haven't been to I've been in a prison. A prison of emotions, a prison of lies.
I've been to a couple of those.
You've been to a prison of lies, let me tell you.
I'm the warden at the prison of lies.
You're the warden, you're the head guard, you're
I'm the lethal injection machine.
You're the nurse that pronounces me dead. You're all the things at the prison of lies. No. And one thing I liked about this in like the opening scenes of her like going into the prison is like me remembering what it was like to like get admitted into a prison. I don't know if we have anybody in chat that's ever done anything like that before, but like it's like super intense. And like her walking through with like her cross necklace on, they're like, hey, where's your medal at? You can't have that stuff in here at all. So I thought that was interesting.
Is there more details you would like to share about your prison experience?
Well, you have to go through like background checks to go through a prison, like for the way that I did it anyway. It was for like a church thing. Let's be real.
I'm interested. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. This is a church thing.
But yeah, you have to submit to like a this is a church thing. You're right. You have to submit like a background check and all this stuff, and you have to make sure that you're wearing proper attire. Like you can't wear you can't wear open-toed shoes. I know that. Can't wear like flip-flops or anything like that. I don't know why. Maybe they just don't want you to get your feet stepped on. I don't know. I don't think you can kill anybody with those things.
You never know.
But yeah, you couldn't wear like tight-fitting clothing. I'm trying to think of other. And it would have been the same kind of prison that this would have been, like a federal prison. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I did it. I talked to some murderers.
Did you minister to them?
I did minister to one. No, I just talked to one guy about books, and he was really into like fantasy books. And I was like, yeah, I'll bring you some fantasy books the next time I come. Never went back.
Oh no.
I know. I feel like a dick now, and I had full intentions. It wasn't like I was scared to go back or anything. I had full intentions of going back. I just never did again.
Didn't happen.
Yeah. Church sucks. So,
well, I mean, even the sister, I feel like was almost a one and done. Like, you get the sense when she shows up that like this was just like a courtesy visit. She's not really planning to come back, and kind of goes the other way.
Yeah.
We get a movie
out of it. And like her interaction with him is only through the glass and stuff. Like she wasn't in with them or wasn't like physically near them at that time.
With them?
Yeah. Heck yeah. How do you think I got all those I gave them files, like giant files that I baked into a cake? You know what I'm talking about?
Can we call you sister?
You can call me sister. You can call me brother. You can call me anything you want. Yeah, I wish it was more interesting, my story. The best part is that I didn't come back to give that guy those fantasy books.
Never got his books, man.
No.
Probably cursing your name to
The
this
worst
day.
thing, though, is like when I talk to those guys, you can like look them up. And I did, and I learned what a couple of them did, and I go, ooh, that's not good.
Yikes.
Yeah, there was some pretty bad ones. Yeah.
Worse than our guy here in the movie?
No, I don't think I talked
No?
to anybody as worse. Yeah, these weren't like death row people that I was talking to. They were just Gen Pop.
Okay.
The Gen Pop, but they did some pretty bad things. You shouldn't. Yeah, I was like, I shouldn't have looked up what these guys. Another thing, you don't want to be like, so what are you in for?
Right.
Because that's awkward. You're like, Jesus, he doesn't care. So yeah, it was interesting, to say the least.
Ohio? Where are we talking?
Arkansas.
Arkansas?
It was Wrightsville.
Okay.
I didn't give them any files, just in case the government's watching.
This episode is being subpoenaed.
They wish, man. Come get me. See you in El Salvador.
That's cool though. You have a unique perspective on that, because I don't think I've ever been anywhere close to the prison system in any aspect of my life.
I didn't think I would ever be in there too, and like that. It is a weird experience. It is like you're safe, but it's super unsettling too. Especially like with the population that I was around, they were there to like get better, and it was a part of like some of their sentence and everything, so they had to be like good and follow along and everything. So you don't like have really any worries, but it's still like
But
weird.
you've also seen Natural Born Killers, so
Yeah. I have seen Natural Born Killers. What a ride.
What a ride.
I've seen a lot of prison movies. There's
always a riot.
This one is the one that like the least amount happens though.
Yeah. It was unique in that way. You were talking about, other movies that you kind of get a lot of similar things out of, but I do feel like this kind of hit like a niche where there was that like balance of like not really choosing a side and showing both sides pretty fully. Like both trying to be there for this dude, but not excusing or condoning or even really like giving you much hope along the way that he's innocent. Like
True.
I feel like a lot of prison movies will lean into that, like, oh, there's this question of like innocence. Yeah, it's brought up, but I never really got the sense that was real.
Right. And I don't think, they kind of set that up early too, where they're like, yeah, he was there no matter what. He was with them. He's an accomplice. Like, so if anything, he should get life in prison. So for what he is, his truth at that time,
right.
Like
commute to a life sentence versus execution. But even still, like he's saying like the whole time, like I didn't kill anyone. It was him. And you just, at least for me, I always felt like that was not true. Like through the whole movie, just because of like the other things that like are coming up about him and his character. I'm just like, this is just like a desperate act of a sentenced man. And I think
that Sister Prejean or whatever plays it pretty well. Like I think she has the hope that he is telling the truth and being completely honest with her. Like, but I even feel like with her, she's not entirely sure.
Yeah. And she's not counting on that to be true.
Yeah. I do get the impression, well, this is her in the movie. Apparently this is like her first death row. Like she's never been done this before. And I don't know if that's completely true. I didn't read much research about her. I know that she's, a staunch advocate for not the death penalty. She wants to get rid of the death penalty.
Yeah.
But I assume that she had probably talked to death row people before.
It seemed like I didn't look into a lot of the actual history either, but it seemed like this Matthew character is like a combination of
two different guys.
Two of her first like interactions with people on death row.
Yeah.
One for like the actual crimes committed, and the other was more like the character matched up. So it was just kind of put together. But it does seem very early on. I don't know, like first, like you're saying, but like pretty green, even if she has ministered to people before. So.
No, and when she goes to the prison, when we're talking about, like, she even meets up with the prison chaplain, and that dude's a douche. And
yes,
but I like that. So kind of what like Ebert was saying about like all sides to everything. Like you see every side. You even see it from the religious aspect. You see the kind of the asshole version of a Christian.
Yeah.
In the chaplain, and then you have her and her other nun friend, played by Margot Martindale, and they're good people and having a good time in their little community and everything. So I liked that aspect of it, especially coming from like religious backgrounds and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I appreciated it.
Yeah, it was kind of the contrast between like a rare, sincere, like love and ministry versus like the established like religion, like church and stuff, and how they like they say they're helping people, but like they're also just like kind of checking boxes and doing
it's just numbers.
It's numbers. Type
it's
thing,
a numbers game. Dunk them and let's get in.
That was very apparent from the beginning. Like their clash was like, he's like, are you sure you can do this? Like this is gonna be a lot. And I think there was some wisdom and truth into what he was saying, but also the way he was like presenting himself, like, you can't do this.
No, I like what you just said. Like there is some truth, and some like he was being real with her. And being like, this man murdered and sexually assaulted these two kids out in the woods or whatever, and like he's very upfront about what she's about to walk into, which
she didn't know at the time, right?
Yeah,
like when she first visited, she had no idea. She was, which is kind of like you're saying, like going in and then looking up what these people are in for later. You're just like, oh, what?
it's serious business.
Wow.
But then she gets in there and she meets Matthew, and I don't know if he's. I feel like in the first scene where they meet, he's not giving her his. Like, I feel like the second or third time that they meet up, he's being like a real dick to her, but he doesn't in this first scene. He's just like
pretty simple. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, he's just like, I don't have much time. They're killing people left and right here, and I'm just trying to get an appeal, and I'm trying to not be on death row. I didn't kill these kids. And I don't know if he says anything like super derogatory yet. Maybe he does at this point. I know he drops an N-word at some point.
Yeah, actually, I think there were a couple in the very first interaction, because I remember thinking like early on, like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
That's what's going to come out of his mouth. So praise for that. It did make me feel like I wondered, like, how many letters did he send out? Did he just like write 1,000 letters and just like, he's so desperate at this point. He's like, somebody, like, who can I plead my case with to try to get somebody to stop this execution impending. So.
Yeah, I wonder, because he has done all the legwork too. That's another, like, you see this a lot in like movies about death row or prison, like that they end up reading a lot and becoming really familiar with the law because they got nothing else to do. So he does all the legwork for them. He's like, I just need you to do this one thing, and that's it. Like, That's why I basically called you in here. I don't
Any-
need a mother. I don't need any of this stuff. Like, I just need you to file this for me and get me a lawyer, maybe pro bono.
Yeah, but
Which-
man, did he hit the jackpot with her though? Like,
Oh yeah.
you say you don't need anything else, but like, man, she brought it all.
And I think it's the scene right after this where she gets pulled over.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which I didn't have, and that's probably more of like the only funny parts of this movie. Where she gets pulled over and the guy's like, "Yeah, I gave a ticket to an IRS guy and I got audited. So you're a nun. I'm
You're
never giving
good.
a ticket to a nun."
I'm not getting on God's bad side.
Yeah,
Go
and that
on
was
your way.
the Clancy Brown cameo, Clancy Brown from
Right.
Shawshank Redemption. So I don't even know if he was credited maybe he was credited in the movie, but
I think he was.
Yeah, I think he was too.
Yeah.
But old friend of Tim Robbins.
Yeah, am I getting? Is he in the movie that we're not going to name yet as well? I swear he is. I need to go back and look it up.
I don't know. He's in Lost.
Oh yeah, nice, good pull, good pull.
Is Clancy Brown in the movie that we're going to be talking about?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay, I think I'm just
Conflating one.
conflating it with
Yeah.
Shawshank.
It looks like he's in another like prison movie though. He's got a
Of course.
type.
Yeah,
He's also Mr. Krabs, so
the Mr. Krabs.
he is the Mr. Krabs. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That's like my favorite thing. It was like, yeah, you know that really shithead evil guy from Shawshank? Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs. Wow, that's crazy. Never would have thought.
What else you got?
After that, let's see. I mean, I think my next kind of combination of scenes were when she visits the families.
Yeah, that's my next scene too. 'Cause like I said, there aren't like a ton of scenes in this. It almost feels play-like.
Yeah, and it moves fairly quickly. In a matter of, what are we talking here? Total timeline, do you think? A week?
Oh, it
a
has
week
to
and a
be
half?
yeah, it has to. Well, I don't know what the time frame is.
It's
It
short,
feels
though,
super
like-
quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's short. But yeah, so Helen, along the way, there have been interactions where the parents of the murdered individuals are brought into interaction with her, and they're of course outraged that she would be taking his side or offering any assistance to him in any way. Especially, I think Walter's dad, I think, like, specifically mentions like he's a Catholic and like, how can you possibly, assist this monster? That they're very much on the side, like, which is very common and makes a lot of sense in horrific situations like this, of like dehumanizing the individual who's committed the crime. Like, oh yeah, they're not human, whereas she is firmly on the other side of trying to advocate for him as a human, and he still, deserves love even past his atrocity. But yeah, she meets with Walter's dad, Earl. Is that right?
Earl, yeah.
Earl. And they have like a whole sit down and talk. The mom's not there. She's like very distraught.
She was packing up all of his stuff
yeah.
finally.
You kind of get the feeling that was gonna, and sure enough, it did.
Yeah.
Later on, but I thought he was really good. I liked Earl a lot.
Yeah.
Out of all the people in the movie, like, that had I guess a B role, I thought he was my my favorite. There's a lot of big faces in there with kind of minor roles, but and they have a really good like conversation. And you do get the sense, and it's comes back later on, that maybe he's like um struggling with it a little bit more, as opposed to like, I'll never forgive him, like
Yeah.
dead to me. There's kind of that, even in their initial interaction, there's kind of that like inkling, like, maybe he can learn to forgive and let go at some point. You don't get the same thing from from the other parents.
No, you do not.
It's very different.
Does she, and she meets up with Earl a couple times, right? Because like, doesn't she go to like that group therapy session for
yeah,
like
that
murdered children?
yeah, that's later on. I thought that was, for such a short scene, that was really powerful.
Yeah.
They like fixed the camera on both of them sitting next to each other, and then there's just like snippets of all different people from the group, like saying these things, while they're just like kind of like just blank faced listening. I thought that scene was very powerful for like the 65 seconds or so that it
Yeah.
happened. But that's also when you find out like later on that they're getting a divorce, just because
Yeah.
they can't like deal with it together, which
He's-
apparently is very common. So
Yeah. What did you say? 70%?
something crazy.
70% of all people who have children that are murdered end up divorced or split up. It's
Just
crazy.
can't deal together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something I would never think about, but I don't know if that's a real statistic,
But it makes sense. Yeah, and
yeah, it does.
I really like the interactions with the parents, because I do think it does exactly what Ebert is saying. It's not necessarily taking a side. This movie could have easily been like all on Sister Prejean, like saying like fighting for his innocence and fighting for him to not get the death penalty and everything. And then you bring in these parents, and the parents do feel a little bit like you're getting appropriate reactions. Like the girls' family are very much like, no, he's a monster, dehumanizing him, like you said, and like, how can you even be a nun and think that it's okay that he's not going to pay for this eye for an eye, since that kind of Christian. And then you get the other guy who even talks about being a Catholic and is very confused, but very, very conflicted. Is so angry because angry. Yeah. And I mean, how can you blame him? It's easy to sit on the other side without somebody, like, without skin in the game, to be like, yeah, no, he deserves to live. But you take somebody of my blood, my child, like I'm glad that they're in it, and I'm glad of the perspectives. Sorry, I have a cough drop in. Perspectives that they have.
Yes, I agree. I thought, and Sister Helen's like reaction and interactions in those conversations too. Like, she's not like showing up and being like trying to like convince them that he deserves forgiveness. She's not like pushing an agenda on him at all. She's like there to listen and offer comfort and help as she can, but also to like just say her little piece, like, hey, like, he's a human. I'm still gonna be there for him until he dies.
Yeah.
To offer him love and support. And that kind of thing is hard to say in front of the very people that are most like horrifically affected by the crime. And I thought that, I think I even liked the scene with the girl's Hope's parents better, because like they like go in and like they're under this like pretense that she's like there to support them fully, like she switched sides, I think they mentioned. And then when they learn that that's not the case, they're like, get the hell out of our house. Like, there's no place for you here. And it's just that extreme, like, we will never forgive. Like, the only thing that might ever satisfy us is his death. and it's even still, she's like, okay, I'll leave. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like the way she just like, and I think after knowing that a lot of this is at least like loosely based in her actual life, it's just like impressive that
Yeah.
someone can have that type of disposition in this type of situation. More power to you, Sister
Yeah.
Bella.
What and of these scenes, it's interesting because so you get the scenes with like her and the parents, you get the scenes with her and Matthew, and then like Matthew's mom as well. And I think I read like that. I don't know if there's an actual time frame or anything because Susan Sarandon's in this movie, 90% of the time. Like she is obviously the main, but she spends most of the time acting is just listening.
Yeah,
And that's all she's doing is listening, which just goes
like intently too.
yes,
like, you can tell,
like she is acting.
yes,
Which I think is really cool and interesting. And this movie was a very hard movie to like judge because of because when you go into the movies looking for like spectacular sets and all this stuff and set design and production design and everything like that, when this one is just like all conversation and even like one side of it is just listening, it's different. And that's why I kind of said like earlier it was like a play almost, like it is just talking. It is a lot of like monologues of these people. But it's very interesting and not bad by any means. I don't know
unique.
It is unique. It is definitely unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? What do you have after the parents?
After that, I guess I'm pretty much. There's a lot that happens, but my next kind of like big scene was like all the way down when he's like death impending and he gets to like meet with his family.
Oh yeah, man, we're right on. We've got them all. I said saying goodbye to his family.
Yeah, which man, that was tough. The only thing I think that happened like between that, we already talked about the brief little scene with at the therapy group. We do get like some additional like just grimy context with Matthew, like some terrorist comments and some Nazi comments along the way, which just like it just hurts because like you're seeing her like so loving of this person that really is like maybe like the worst of the worst as it's evaluated. Like and I think those little like details just add a lot to like the depth of the love that she's presenting to him.
I really like that. And it's interesting too with him because you see constantly like all of these like we'll call them layers, but they are like physical layers or that get revealed to her that make it harder for her very loving character to continue loving him all the way up until the day of like his execution and everything. So you're talking about like him getting revealed in that like television interview that saying all these things about like Hitler and his white supremacy background and all this stuff to the point where now she sees him and she sees him without his shirt on or without like something on his arms, and you see all the tattoos and you see like swastikas and you see all this stuff and you're like, oh, so even that stuff, like it's all these like almost little parts of lies that he has. Like he was like, oh, I'm not that thing, I'm not any of these things, I'm just saying this stuff. Well, was it like or did you believe that? And it like hurts every time something like that. Not saying that you can't have those things and be redeemed and not believe those things, because even when she's talking to him at one point and she actually finally goes in on him because he keeps saying the N-word over and over again, and she's like, what is it you don't like? And he's like, oh, it's not everybody, and then he points out like Martin Luther King, who is the biggest civil rights advocate of all time. Like that's the GOAT, like, yeah, that guy's a rebel. And he stood up to all those people in Washington and he won. And she's like, okay, Like that's against everything that you're saying. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, no, the others, they're lazy and all this stuff. And she's like, so you don't like lazy people?
Yeah.
It's not a skin color thing. It's lazy people. Like that's what you're like. Let's break it down. And I really like that she went in on him and like,
yeah, that was a good little conversation.
I loved that.
And honestly, you're being lazy for simplifying it to a skin color. So shut up.
And that's all. I think she also goes in on him about the victim thing. Like he goes off about, I ain't never been a victim, but the whole time he is claiming to be a victim of the system of his situation of him being like, he is just claiming victim the whole time. And she finally like, you're not a victim, or like, stop playing a victim. You're being everything that you say you hate. So
man, he goes through the full gamut of blaming too. Like it's everybody. Down to the wire too. I feel like even towards the very end, like he's on the phone almost at the end of the movie, like making his last phone call to his family, and he's like, "Oh no, it's the lawyer."
Yeah,
the lawyer called him, was like, "Sorry, like the appeal didn't go through, or whatever." And he's like, "No, you didn't fail me. The justice system failed me." I was like, "Okay, bro."
Yeah. But the scene with his family, like I feel like it starts off pretty good when we're in there, and they're all just kind of cutting up and keeping it light, and he's talking to his brothers and making fun of his brothers, and trying to keep his mom from and it's really sweet. And then like it gets to that point where it shows like the clock, I guess. And they're all just kind of sitting there in silence, not having anything to talk about.
And the kid is shuffling across the floor and squeaking his shoes. That's the only sound happening. And I was just like,
yeah. And then like the guy comes in, he's like, time's up. And he's like, no. We've got like 20 minutes or something. He's like, nope, time's up. We got to get this thing going.
We got to get you dead.
It's just interesting because they're not even using that time. Like and it's on purpose because it's like, what can you say? This person's about to be killed in hours, like a couple hours, and they've kind of wasted all this conversation already. Like they went through everything, and there's nothing really left to say. Like it's just so that silent scene with the squeaking is so sad.
And it especially like after, like you said, starting out so like haha, telling stories, making jokes, old girlfriends, your little brother getting scared in the tent in the wood. Like it's just like it felt so normal for like a brief moment, and then just right after it's like a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Just like ugh.
And it doesn't let up for the rest of the movie either, because like even after they escort him out, and he's like, "How's my mama? How's she doing?" And she is crumpled outside, just crying and bawling. And Sister Prejean has to stand and be like, "She's okay. She's okay."
I
was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. This is a mother's movie. Yeah. Ugh. And it doesn't let up.
Yeah, that's really the rest of the movie is just all kind of like one scene of like everything leading up to his execution.
Is the next thing that you have written down is confession?
I did have confession. I kind of lumped it in with the death, but
with the execution, yeah.
That I do think that moment was very important,
and it's almost like a sense of relief for I think the viewer. I think it's a sense of relief for her in that moment. Like, this is what I've been trying to get you to do this whole time, is just be honest, own up, don't play the victim. And it's at this final moment when he's just like, yeah, I did this, and he's super honest about everything. He's like, I killed the boy and I assaulted the girl, but I did not kill the girl. Which is, you knew it.
Kind of what you knew the whole time, but it is very like monumental to the movie for him to like say it out loud to her and to himself, like before he dies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. Like, and then like as we get further in, like as they're going through the whole execution procedure, and they're like chopping in scenes from the crime at the same time, it's just, man, that last little chapter of the movie is heavy.
It's heavy.
Oof. Yeah,
it's a hard watch.
It really is.
It definitely invokes emotions that you are probably not expecting, like, to have, and like I feel like you're going through the ringer with all of them. Like, you're angry, you're relieved. Like I said, you're relieved that he finally was honest. You're angry that he did it and lied about it. You're angry about the system. You're feeling like a sense of relief for the family. Like,
yeah,
maybe, who knows?
Everything. And I do, and to your point earlier about like the balance and not really choosing a side, like if there's any question, like the whole final scene where they're, showing the justice of killing him and the reason, the like the crime that's happening for killing him, like all at once, you're seeing like the faces of the parents. Even in that moment, I feel like the Hope's parents were still maybe showing a little bit of like disgust, or like I don't know what the best way to phrase it is, but like maybe this is not so okay as he's dying on the bed.
Yeah. Well, I also think that it comes because of his last words too, where he says, "Hey, I'm sorry for killing your boy. I did."
Yeah.
Like, and then, hey, and he sees them react to him not saying anything to them, and he says, "Hey, I hope my death gives you relief."
Yeah.
In all this stuff. So he
did it.
I don't know.
We don't really see them again after that. So
yeah.
But you do get there's some facial expressions there as he's dying that's like, maybe this is not what you were looking for.
Yeah, maybe this isn't what we were looking for.
Yeah.
So. It's tough. And then, the whole like religious aspect of it too, and like the face of love part of it, and like the last thing that he sees is her face, like reaching out to him and letting him know that she, like, he says, "I love you" to her, and she mouths it back to him. Like, oh my God.
What an ask. Can you imagine having like the strength this is something that is so far beyond me, but I can't imagine having the strength as a person to tell someone who is being executed, "Look at me," so that you can see love as you're dying. Like, what?
That's what I'm going to do to you.
Goodness.
I'm going to make you.
I don't want to look at you while you're dying, much less tell you to look at me. Like,
I'm going to tell you to look at me. And I'm going to say, "I hate your guts."
Man, when she said that, I was like.
And it does, you could take that from a religious point of view, but you could also just take it as from a decent human's point of view of being like, "Hey, you got it wrong, but you're okay. Like, it's okay." Like,
yeah.
Ugh.
And that's like, I think there is a lot of politics around the death penalty that we don't have to touch at all.
Yeah.
Now
it's time for the big question.
Let's do it. Let's get super political.
Get crazy in here. Death penalty, good or not good?
Woo! Can we do a poll in the chat?
Oh man. Are you pro death penalty or?
Let's get into it. No,
I think that's a different one.
Apart from all that, the testament to Sister Helen and her life and legacy, apparently from what I've read, is like just love, and that's that's the root of a lot of religion. For better or for worse, like showing love to people.
Yes, the good parts of religion.
Yes, the good parts is the love. When it's true and unconditional, like we see a lot in this movie. Like people that have made a huge mistake and are going to die for it can still deserve love in their dying moments. And like the way that this movie like portrayed that was it was so emotional to me. I think I cried for probably like 10 minutes solid towards the end of this. It was crazy. But anyways,
it is one of those ones where you like, I didn't watch it in the way that I probably should have watched it, on a bigger screen or anything. I watched it on like my tablet in a dark hotel room, and I just laid back and I was like, what just happened to me?
You have to get up and walk around.
Yeah, seriously. I was just like, I got to work tomorrow, I guess. And it's super impactful. And it definitely leaves a punch. And I think it is done in a really, really good way. So like, good for Tim Robbins for getting the story, like writing the story that he did based on this novel, and like getting the performances that he did out of his non-wife, Susan Sarandon at the time. They were together in love.
Legal. What's
they
the
were
word for it?
They had common law.
Common law. Thank you.
Yeah, they were
That's
common law married.
Common law. Yeah. Man, good on Tim Robbins because this is his first, right? First direct. You're getting nothing but love from me for it. So
I'm pretty sure it's his first one.
Common law lovers. Chat agrees. I'm pretty sure it was his first.
Yeah.
He just loves prisons, I think.
I think he's addicted to prison. Now I gotta look, Oh, writer and director only. Let's see Cradle Will Rock. Yeah, I don't know if he's done very many after this. Oh, he wrote one called Bob Roberts, I guess, in '92.
Okay.
Wrote? It says wrote, directed, and starred him.
Okay.
So this is his second one, Bob Roberts. Yeah, I think I've heard of that one. I think that's Jack Black's first film. He's talked about that before. So maybe he has a thing with Jack Black.
Putting Jack Black on them.
He loves Jack Black. He worked with him in High Fidelity too in 2000. I don't know. Now I got to look back. I'm gonna see.
I'm expecting you to go down Tim Robbins, Jack Black
rabbit hole.
Present your findings in the Discord.
Done. Absolutely done. All right. I mean,
spoiler alert. He gets executed. There's no like.
Spoiler alert.
He doesn't get saved. For all the people who didn't watch the movie, he's dead.
Oh yeah, and I do want to talk about that too. Like when he is ended, when he is executed. I don't want to say like I like the execution scene, but I like how it is done. Like it shows you he's killed by lethal injection, and it shows like the 3 shots that are administered, and they explain it to you earlier and what each one of those shots does to the body earlier. You just don't see it on him, but like inside what is happening to him.
Yeah. So, Armageddon, I think he says, right?
Armageddon of all your organs. Yeah. And it shows each of those shots going down, and it's still doing that, like where it's showing you scenes from the crime that happened. And I really like how they have, he goes to like showing the bodies positioned in the woods, and he is in the same position that they are positioned. And it's like, it's not meant to be like Christ-like or anything like that. I don't think like crucified. It is just showing the deaths of like that death isn't, or murder isn't okay in any form, I think.
Yeah.
Ultimate message.
Yeah, and he says that right on the nose as part of his like last bleeding into the quotes. Matthew says, like, after he addresses the parents, I just want to say I think killing is wrong no matter who does it, whether it's me or y'all or your government. That's like, I think his very last
That's
words.
His last word, except for I love you. Yeah.
Yeah, except for I love you. So it's like, I think they're the not artistic sounds so wrong to say,
Yeah,
but the way that like it was juxtaposed together during that whole final sequence, I thought was very, very well done.
it was good. It was really good.
And
So,
that's pretty much it. Like after
that is
that, we
it,
just
yeah.
get like his funeral.
His funeral, you get the little bit with Earl.
Yeah, a
Um,
little bit extra with Earl.
Earl shows up at Matthew's funeral. He's like, I don't even know why I'm here. But you feel like he is kind of breaking a little bit. And you've kind of always felt like he was breaking a little bit. Like,
Yeah,
this isn't going to help me. I know it's not going to help me to see this. And he's still angry. He says that, but he starts praying.
yeah. The very final scene of the movie, like, is them together in a church praying.
Yeah.
With
I was
a
hoping
nice
they'd
little
hook
pan
up.
out. I thought it was good. Yeah.
All right. Who do you think is who's your favorite character in the movie?
I,
And who stole the show a little bit?
okay. I did say Earl's on my list.
Earl is on my list for scene stealer, definitely.
I also had Lucille, his mom, Matthew's mom.
She is so good. Everybody really is good.
Good, man. She surprised me. There were a couple like parts in her like weepy scenes where it felt a little bit like maybe she's not a great crier, but other than that, like I thought, man, she surprised me quite a bit. For somebody I've never seen in anything.
Yeah.
So
no, I liked her. I liked Earl.
who else you got?
I liked her Margot Martindale's character, the other sister.
The other sister.
Because not like one thing that we skipped over a lot of like the appeals process stuff. We also skipped over like Susan Sarandon's character kind of getting some hate from within her community and people not like wanting to hang around her anymore or send their kids over to her anymore or anything like that. So we missed out on a little bit of that, but we had her always kind of standing by Susan Sarandon's character and being like, hey, I still love you.
Yeah, she's like, I love you, but just want to make you aware of what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't really want to say outside of the scene stealers, like who is better or who I liked. I mean, I liked Sister Helen. She's the most likable, I think, character in it because it's really hard to like Matthew.
Oh yeah, and I think that's very intentional.
Yeah,
like anytime the film has worked up a sense of like, you know, like you feel sorry for him a little bit, that's when they drop like, oh, he's gone on these interviews saying that Hitler was a great man and shit like that, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe no, I'd take it, I walk it back, like I don't feel sorry for him, and there's that like tug back and forth through the whole movie almost, and you get to the point where like he's not likable, he's not,
yeah,
he's a criminal, he did one of the worst things that you can possibly do to another human being. Yeah. So
not my favorite character.
Yeah.
Let's go into quotes. Let's, again, there's not like a ton of like things that I'm like, oh, that's a very funny quote, or that's a really profound quote. You already talked about Matthew's quote at the end of the movie where he says he's against killing anyway, whoever does it. What else do you have?
I've got a few. One of them, I'll just go ahead and say this one because it's super long, and then you can fill in with some that you got. So this is a whole interaction between one of the prison guards and Sister Helen, starting off with the guard. Tell me something, sister. What is a nun doing in a place like this? Shouldn't you be teaching children? Do you know what this man has done? How he killed them kids? And then Sister Helen comes back. What he was involved with was evil. I don't condone it. I just don't see the sense of killing people to say killing people's wrong. And I thought that part was like, oof, perfect. And then it continues. The guard says, the Bible says an eye for an eye, which we've alluded to. Like that's a very religious thing to say. And then she comes back and says, you know what else the Bible asks for? Death as a punishment for adultery, prostitution, homosexuality, trespass upon sacred ground, profaning the Sabbath, and contempt of parents. And then the guard finally comes back and he says, I ain't going to get no Bible quoting contest with no nun because I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
But I like that whole like interaction. Right
now. Yeah, where Sister Helen tells him, I think this is when he has confessed or is on the verge of confessing. I think he's already confessed to her at this point, but she says, you are a son of God. And he says, thank you. I've never been called a son of God before. And then he says, I've been called a son of a you-know-what plenty of times, but I've never been called a son of God. It's good. That was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Earl, I liked this line that Earl said. It sucks because it's after they're coming out of the group therapy session. But he says, my wife filed for divorce this afternoon. We just have different ways to deal with our son's death. And then he says, until death do us part. And I was like, ooh,
yeah. Like not necessarily
our death. Yeah. Somebody else's death. I was like, ooh, that's good.
That's good. Yeah.
What else?
I just had a couple of others. I'll go ahead and say this one. Shout out to Mother's Day. I think it's the mom. It's Lucille. At some point, I think she's talking to Sister Helen, and she says, a mother's arms are strong when her child is in danger.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oof, yeah.
Happy Mother's Day.
They are. Yeah, happy Mother's Day.
It's quiet. Only 3 days left. Plenty of time to read my Bible and look for a loophole. Which is
after that whole story with the loophole, yeah, that was good.
Yeah. I think W.C. Fields, is who she's talking about. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Anything else?
The only other one I wrote down in interaction with Sister Helen and Matthew, she says, show me some respect, Matthew. And he says, why? Because you're a nun? And she says, no, because I'm a person.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right.
And then the scene where she says, I want the last face you see in this world to be a face of love. So you look at me when they do this thing, I'll be the face of love for you. Wow. Yeah. That's a hard one. I don't think we'll get too many on this one, but biggest laugh, cry, scare, or thrill?
Yeah. I think there were a couple. So I feel like there were some attempts at like humor along the way that didn't really land super well.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the state trooper scene that you mentioned, like that was kind of funny, but whatever.
I did learn why that was in the movie, though. Did you see that?
Yeah. I did see that. Go ahead and say it.
Yeah, so that happened while they were filming. That actually happened to the real Sister Prejean. She was like, "Hey, let's put this in the movie. It's funny."
Okay,
that's it.
Yeah. So it did. After I saw that, I was like, okay, that's why it felt like so out of place.
Yeah, it did feel out of place.
It was just like added in because she wanted it. That's fine. The other thing, there was like another moment that I think was supposed to be funny that just didn't land super well, but I put it down as best laughed. When they were talking about the sister that he's going to be buried next to.
Yeah.
Who was like, they said that she was like so like
anti-man,
proud of her celibacy. Yeah. Anti-man, like, and then like this plot that they've got next to where she was buried is where they're going to bury Matthew. And they were just like
with a man for the rest of her.
Yeah, they were musing about that, which was pretty funny.
That was pretty much the only funny thing in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's not even that. Yeah. It's really hard when you know what the context is of it.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about a guy's death here.
Let's laugh about lethal injection.
That's what I should have put the line for this.
The tagline?
Yeah, the tagline. Let's laugh about lethal injection. Any WTF or ridiculous moments?
I thought, okay, so they never really like expounded on this a whole lot, but the flashbacks where like the kids are like pinataing the possum. You remember?
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That I don't know if that was just to like, I don't know what that was for. I don't know why that was in the movie.
Yeah.
Is that like just a part of her actual childhood? That
Yeah,
just
I think that's
snuck in
all it's
there?
supposed to be, is like a part of her childhood and them. Again, I don't know why
All these kids just like,
beating a
you're not
possum.
dead, possum, and they're hitting it with sticks. And they like flash back to it a couple times. I thought maybe there was going to be like some more connection to that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really. I guess I don't
Felt really
really
out of
understand
place.
why it's in there, but I agree with you. It's weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
It is
Especially
weird.
like when it didn't come back around at all, or like, I don't know. I just, that was a
Maybe
ended
that's
up
like her
being
first time with like death, and like her first experience with death, and actually taking the life of something. Like, was this animal? And that's the only thing. That is the only
Yeah.
way that I took it at the time. I agree with you. I do not think it is clear. I do not like.
She was the lethal injection machine to the
She
possum.
was the lethal injection. So let's laugh about it.
Some laugh about. I know you're just playing that one kid. I know you're just playing possum.
Boom, boom, boom.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was weird.
I also said any of the other flat. I said not what they're not really WTF, because I do think they're very impactful. They are hard to watch though. The murder scene is very hard to watch at the end, but intentional for that.
It's way less graphic than our Rob Roy last week as far as like the actual assaults.
Yeah.
But still, even for like, they don't do any like close-ups really at all. It's all like far away, but still like you're just like, oof.
Yeah.
These guys are doing the devil's work.
Yes, they are. Best music moment or score. One thing I'll say is the original song by Bruce Springsteen was nominated. It's called "Dead Man Walking." That's on the Instagram page. It's the music behind the picture that I posted of Joseph.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you can listen to that. And also the score was composed by David Robbins, who is Tim Robbins' brother. He's a lot of nepotism with Tim Robbins. Like, his whole family's in this movie.
Jeez, I can't
Susan
believe
Sarandon's daughter's in this movie at some point too. Like, there's so much.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, there was like a list of like 8 people in his family, I think, or so, maybe more.
Like his mom, his dad.
They're all up in there.
Brother, they're all
I'd be doing the same thing if I'm being honest. I get everybody in there that I know, but I do think nothing really like stuck out to me score wise as we're going along. But I do think the "Dead Man Walking" song by Springsteen, like during the credits, was like very good.
Yeah,
That's
one of the so like this soundtrack, Tim Robbins reached out to a bunch of artists that he liked to see if he could, get them on it. And he got, Springsteen. One of the things, I have not listened to the songs, but some of the songs that were written specifically for this movie are told from the point of view of characters in the movie. So like Suzanne Vega's song is written from the perspective of Sister Helen, and Steve Earle has a song on there from the point of view of a prison guard. And then Bruce Springsteen's is, on the behalf of Matthew, like it's from his perspective. So interesting way to do that soundtrack there, especially with one where you don't play much of the music during the actual movie. So Johnny Cash is on there, I think, too, who is famous for, playing the prisons and things like that. So maybe give it a listen. 1952/1995 music.
What? Shout out
next week.
Bonus episode. No, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I do think the way they came to like the soundtrack was very cool. But I don't, it seemed like all of those songs that were on the soundtrack were not necessarily all in the movie. Which is kind of weird. I was trying to like go back and like,
it's more like a companion
in the movie, and I was having trouble doing so.
Yeah, it is. It's truly like a companion piece. Like, okay, this is something. It's like an extra commentary or something for this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ooh, good point. Yeah. Very cool.
So check that out. All right, you ready for it?
Probably not. I think Chad is. They've
Chad's
been
ready for
it.
it from the beginning. All right, I took it easy on you, I promise. And my hopes here are that you watched all of these movies, because what I did was Susan Sarandon has been on 52 / in 3 separate movies over the last 3 years, and so I figured we'd take her characters. So we've got Sister Helen Prejean, Reggie Love from The Client,
Okay.
and Marmee from Little Women. Did you watch Little Women?
Full transparency, I did not watch Little Women.
Wow.
I have seen it, and I have seen the newer rendition that
So you
came
know
out.
who she is in that.
Yes.
She's the mom.
Yes. So I think I'm equipped enough to do this. Man, instant Mary for the sister. She's
It's a sexless marriage, but you're into it.
She is love. You will never have to wonder about love in its truest form.
That is true. I like, man. Good.
Like that after this movie,
I'm proud of you.
she says, "Look me in the face as we're dying, and I'll be your face of love." Okay, well, I can live with that. I can do a life of that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's instant for me. Okay.
I think she's my F.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you just saying that'd be funny, or is that
Kinda.
kinda? Okay. Oh well, we'll get into that in a minute.
She can't compare you to anybody. I'll know that. You know that.
I see where you're going with this. You're trying to get in the nunnery.
Get thee to a nunnery and quick.
Okay. Client versus Little Women. Oof. Man, I really dig Susan Sarandon on the whole, so it's hard to come up with a kill, I think.
The interesting thing is Reggie Love and Marmee both have dead children. I'm pretty sure Reggie Love's kid is dead. And that's why
is Reggie Love? Wait.
So her backstory in The Client is that like she is divorced because of something like I think her kid died, and then she like is out. Maybe your kid's not dead. Maybe I'm wrong. She's an alcoholic, though. I know that.
Well, yeah, I do remember that. So okay, so that
not that you can't love an alcoholic,
but you can F one.
But you can F one.
So that's where we're going. That's what we're gonna do. Sorry, the names are throwing me off, so I'm just gonna say movies. Mary. What's the movie we're talking about? Dead Man Walking. Thank you.
Dead Man Walking. Yeah.
Mary, Dead Man Walking. F The Client and kill Little Women.
Interesting.
What about you?
I think I marry. They don't speak to her. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the research. They don't speak to her anymore. Hey, you don't have to worry about kids. If you don't want them, they don't have them. Anyway, I'm gonna marry Marmee. I think. And I think
Marmee is Little Women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just think mommy. And that's where Marmee comes from. Yeah, I think I'm gonna marry Marmee. One, because she is super faithful. Her husband was away fighting in the Civil War, and she was like taking care of all those kids. So she's great at what she does. Hey, shout out to mothers.
Mothers.
Shout out to mothers. Shout out to all the mothers out there. Even mother superiors, nuns. So
shout out to all the Susan Sarandon mothers.
Shout out to all the Susan Sarandons. So I think I'm gonna go with Mary Marmee. I think she's a strong woman.
Yeah,
she's gonna get you through.
Yeah, she will.
Am I killing Sister Prejean from a movie where we shouldn't be killing? Let's do it. I'm getting rid of her.
That's fine. Hey,
and we're effing Reggie Love.
You can.
She got love in her name.
She's got love in her name. Can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that, Chad. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry that we ruined this really good, beautiful talk about capital punishment with this insane F.
With
Mary
Susan
kill.
Sarandon in all her forms.
That's right. And we'll keep doing this. Every time Susan Sarandon comes up, we're bringing her back. We're going to just compile all these. All right. Who gave the best performance in this movie?
I do think it was Susan.
Yeah, I do too.
I'll give props to Sean Penn though. He was good.
Who won Best Actor this year? That's what he was nominated for Best Actor.
Yeah.
But now I'm curious. It wasn't Mel Gibson, I'm sure.
Wait, was last month nominations? Those are just Best Pictures though, weren't they?
Yeah, so we've got Richard Dreyfuss for Mr. Holland's Opus, Anthony Hopkins for Nixon, Sean Penn for Dead Man Walking, Massimo Troisi for Il Postino, The Postman, and Nicolas Cage for Leaving Las Vegas. I won't spoil and let you know who won. Sean Penn did not win, though.
Yeah, we do know that. So,
and I haven't seen 2 of these movies, so I won't make my final judgment yet.
He was great, though.
He was great, and like really good at making me believe him as this character. So much so that I was like, I don't know if anybody else could have done this better.
Yeah, I had a tough time with recast. Man, the talent to make your entire face go red when you're getting emotional. How do you do that? You just hold your breath, or like what? How do?
Aladdin said, "Hold your breath; it gets better."
Who said that?
Aladdin.
Never heard of him.
That's all I got. Speaking of recast, who did you think of for recast?
Okay, yeah, I've got a few.
Okay, good. I had 2. I only did 3. This was tough.
You only did 3 for both?
No, I only did 1 for 95 and then 2 for 2025. So bring it on.
All right, I've got 2 Helens, 1 Matthew for 95. I've got Julianne Moore.
Oh yeah, I guess that's an easy one. Yeah,
all of mine are easy. So I've also got Diane Keaton.
Okay, I like that. She could do it.
Yeah, the only person I think he's too old, but the only person that I could think of for Matthew that kind of seemed to fit like the crazy murderer, but also like emotional. Nick Nolte.
Ooh, yeah.
I think he's too old though.
I do think he's a little too old for this, but could do the crazy. The only person I put for Matthew was Val Kilmer. He was the only one I could think of to come up with that, just based on like Tombstone a little bit, and I was like, he could get a little trashy with it.
Yeah, okay, I like that. I could see Val doing it,
like a trashy Doc Holliday.
Yeah, really. Man, what's the hairdo called? Is that a pompadour?
Oh, the pompadour, yeah.
Is that a pompadour?
Yeah.
The thing was on point every time.
It was on point. How did he quaff that? So like that's the only that he was good at that. But I just don't think there's like I don't know. Sean Penn has this like rat boy thing to him. But he's not like a cute rat boy.
Yeah.
Like Timothy Chalamet is like a rat boy, but he's a cute rat boy.
He's like I do perfume commercials.
Yeah.
Or cologne commercials.
Cologne commercials. And Sean Penn, I don't know. There's something about Sean Penn. Sean Penn, a little bit problematic, but great actor.
Man.
And he's, again, not a good-looking person. Like, Sean Penn is fine, but he's not traditionally handsome, I guess, is what I would say.
I agree, especially with the bottom tuft here was pretty gnarly.
Even I think his mustache was not great either.
Mustache was kind of crazy too, but yeah.
All right,
great craft.
Yeah, great man. He is good. He's giving it all. I do love a rat boy. She knows me too. I love a little rat boy. It's a specific kind of rat boy, but yeah. I'm a little. That's where I'm 80-20. That's where my 20 goes. Is to Rat Boys.
Okay. To Rat Boys. 20 Rat Boys.
20 to Rat Boys. 2025. Who'd you cast?
Okay, we got just a few here. I thought it would be cool, as we always talk about, to bring people back. I'm saying Sean Penn could maybe be either Earl, Walter's dad,
Yeah,
or the lawyer.
which is interesting.
Tilton.
I've got one of my movies kind of plays to this a little bit.
Okay, I thought I liked Earl better, just like him coming back and playing the dad of one of the kids that he killed in the first movie. I thought that would have like an emotional impact to it. But
yeah, I will say that I like that guy, and I have never really been moved by Raymond J. Barry is his name. I've seen he shows up in a lot of stuff, but like he actually got to act in this movie, and I really liked it.
He was yeah. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything that like impacted me like this movie. Like he's always just like somebody's dad or granddad.
The only thing I can remember him from is The Wrong Kid Died. He's Dewey Cox's dad. He's Dewey Cox's dad, and that is all I can remember. The Wrong Kid Died, and that's it. Yep. But he is so good in this.
Yeah.
Which made me like, oh man, why didn't you get better roles?
Yeah.
But
never made it all the way to the top, I guess.
I guess not. No.
It's the rat race.
No, I like that. Keep going.
I had one for Matthew, Aaron Paul.
Ooh, okay. I was
trying. Bad boy.
Yeah.
I know he can cry. So I don't know if he can rock a pompadour, but I'd like to see him try.
Yeah, why not?
And then I had two for Helen, and most of these were just big-eyed people.
I went with a big-eyed person too.
I said either Natalie Portman or Olivia Colman. I think Olivia Colman might be a little too old, but
yeah,
she looks pretty.
She could do it
for her age. So
yeah.
So those are my two for Helen.
I went with Amanda Seyfried.
Yes,
huge eyes, just big eyes,
huge.
I thought she could. This is one for you. I still haven't seen Sinners yet, but I picked Jack O'Connell, who is in Sinners as Matthew, and I was like, that guy can be a grungy, guy, and I remember him most from Skins. He was in a couple seasons of Skins.
The British one.
Yeah. He's in the British one. Yeah.
Dang, and he's got nice.
He's kind of a bad boy in that one that you kind of love a little bit. So I was like, yeah, he could be that. He just did a Southern guy, so he could be that guy. I don't know if he's any good in that movie, but yeah, no spoilers. So yeah, those were my only two. This one was a tough one.
It was. Well, and especially the whole movie is two people basically.
Yeah.
Like you've got all these other people that are subbing in and doing great things, but like it's a two-person act, like you're saying, as a play. you know, pretty much. So
all right, fun facts. I didn't have a ton of fun facts. Did you have any?
Not a ton. I think we've already kind of talked about a few. Yeah, you mentioned the state trooper scene. The real Sister Helen was in there. That brief cameo when they were doing like the candlelight vigil / protest outside the prison. I tried to go back and see who it actually was, but I didn't find her. I don't know if you did or not. But
no, I didn't.
She's there.
I think she's in that group with it, like all
like
of the
around
nuns.
the candles.
Yeah, I think she's in that group, but I couldn't tell you.
I mean, I knew two of those faces, but the rest it was a crapshoot. So
yeah.
Let's see. This is not really a fun fact, but it's punny. So Scott Wilson, the guy that played the chaplain, goes on to be a very important reoccurring character on The Walking Dead.
I like that.
Dead
Man Walking Dead. Yeah, he is. What's his face?
Herschel.
Yeah.
So
Old man Herschel. Dang.
there you go. He's kind of honestly a similar character, like kind of douchey, but like gonna tell you how it is in a lot of ways. So, anyways, what about you? What you got?
So I didn't look it up because I was like a little curious about this, but as of 2018, this movie and Leaving Las Vegas are the last films to be nominated for Best Picture or Best Director, Lead Actor, Lead Actress, but not Best Picture. Was not nominated for Best Picture. So
all the bigs except
for Best Picture.
Dang,
Yeah,
that's
three out of the big four. So who knows? And I wanted to look it up. I was like, maybe something else hit that. But
poor Timmy.
Yeah, it's all right. Good for him for being nominated, though. You had mentioned this earlier, but this is Sean Penn's character is based on two characters, Elmo Patrick Sonier and Robert Lee Willie. Were both on death row. They were also executed by electric chair in Louisiana in 1984. But by 1993, Louisiana had switched the death penalty over to lethal injection as the most humane way to execute. So they used lethal injection in the film to, be more relevant in the time. So, they thought that would be a little bit better, and also kind of adds to the not the ambiguity, but like is this humane? Is this not humane? Should we even be doing this thing? So,
I think to tag on to that, I think I saw like also a little extra about that where Sister Helen, when she was given input, she was like, let's jump it to lethal injection so we can like limit the like moral grounds for like, we're improving from the electric chair, so this is fine. Which I think that was a good decision.
I do too. I'm glad that she had so much input in the movie too, to where she could be like, I got pulled over while we were filming this. Can we put this in the movie?
Can we put it in the movie? I thought it was funny.
And Tim Robbins like, yeah, sure, I guess. Why not?
Okay.
All right. Well, we beat around the bush long enough. Like a fine wine and dish, if you could pair this movie with another movie for a double feature, what would you choose?
So I don't have anything really surprising here. Green Mile, which we were alluding to previously. That's the kind of supernatural take on this story.
But also an innocent
love.
But also an innocent man was
also an innocent man. Yeah. And then I also said Capote,
yeah,
which I haven't actually seen, so I'm just kind of going off of what's out there.
No, Capote is a good one because he wrote the book In Cold Blood, which is like him interviewing and talking to a death row inmate about a murder. So
kind of like the interviewer or the person
yeah,
bonding with the inmate. So it seems pretty similar. Just Mercy, where Michael B. Jordan is like playing a young lawyer who's coming in to like save or represent people who can't afford a lawyer, and he ends up like fighting to save somebody's life on death row, which I have seen. It was pretty good. And then the only other one I put down was just kind of like a Tim Robbins, Sean Penn, Mystic River.
So so we 3 of my 4 you picked.
Nice.
So Green Mile, of course. Just Mercy. If you're a reader, I would read Just Mercy. The movie is really good. I don't love Michael B. Jordan in it as that character, but what's his face is so good in that movie. Gosh, what is his name? Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is so good in that movie as a man on death row who is innocent as well. Sorry. No, that's the whole thing. But really good book starring Michael B. Jordan as Brian Stevenson. It's based on a real guy who it's fascinating. I really do love that book. Also, Brie Larson's in that movie.
Yeah.
And like the craziest wig ever. I was like, that's Brie Larson. Okay, whatever. And then what else was the other one that you just said? Mystic River.
Mystic River.
Mystic River, which is interesting because have you seen Mystic River, or has it been a while since you've seen?
It's
Mystic
been
River?
a long time.
I have I want to watch it again, but I know it's gonna mess with me real bad because it's about a guy whose child is murdered, and Sean Penn's daughter is murdered in that movie, and he thinks that one of his friends did it. So, and that it's tough movie. Definitely look up some trigger warnings before you go into that one. But that is a tough movie. But they both went on to win Oscars for that movie. Tim Robbins and
nice.
Sean Penn. Yeah,
good on him.
Both get an acting. Tim Robbins gets a supporting nod, and Sean Penn finally gets his Best Actor win. So it's good. The only other one I will bring up is a movie called Paradise Lost. It is a documentary on HBO. It is about the West Memphis 3 murders, and has, there are 3 different documentaries in that Paradise Lost thing, and it deals with death row, and it deals with innocence, and really good. I do say whenever you're watching documentaries like these, take them, do more research, look into them, read up on everything, and like form your own opinions. Don't just, get the opinions from the documentary that you're watching. It's like to Make a Murderer. I can go off on To Make a Murderer or whatever, that Netflix one, and it makes me so mad. But Paradise Lost is very good, especially the first one. It's a very good documentary. But the reason I listed that one is because of the parents of the children that were murdered. And you see their anger and how their lives are kind of destroyed by losing a child in that. And it reminded me of all of the parents affected in this, not just, and even Matthew's parents. So that's the reason why I picked that one. So Life of David Gale was on a list that I was looking up stuff. I've never seen it.
I don't know if I've seen that one. Is that Kevin Spacey?
Yes, that is Kevin Spacey.
Maybe I have seen it and I just don't remember.
I get that one and Runaway Jury confused, and I know that they're not the same movie at all. But I think they came out around similar times. But that's a good one. It did show up on a lot of. It did show up on a lot of lists. So, all right. On a scale of 1 to 5, how likely are you to rewatch this movie?
I think since this is a first watch, it is very tough. Which, personally, like the tough watches don't come back as often as others, even if it's really good. So I put it at 3.
Yeah. I put it at a 2 for that very reason. I was like, I don't want to watch this again. I think I've got everything I need. It's so good. But yeah, I don't, it would be a while before I came back to this one.
If somebody comes to me and it's like, oh, I've never seen it, then I'd be like, okay, then you should. Like,
you should watch
really
it.
think you should.
Watch it with Just Mercy.
Back to back?
Green Mile, back to back to back. All right. Overall, rate the film 1 to 5 stars. What'd you give it?
I gave it a 4.
Gave it a 3.5 on my side. I was harsh. I feel like I was super harsh on it. And I think I gave it I think I was a little bit harsher on this movie just because there wasn't a ton of it is conversations. It's just a lot of conversation. And it is done really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still 3.5. It's a good movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah. It was the most surprising thing to me is that it was over 2 hours and didn't feel like it.
It did not feel like 2 hours at all.
It flew by.
So
that I think that is a testament to how like
tight it is. Yeah. Well, Joseph, we've done it. We've went through death row and back. Thank you for doing this for me 2 weeks in a row. Before we wrap up, I know we talked last week. Is there any movies that you watched this week that you would recommend to people?
I've only got one. I did see The Legend of Ochi this week, which I really liked quite a bit. It's a kind of like a fantasy A24 movie that came out recently, revolving around a creature, kind of ET vibes. Like there's a creature and a kid's like trying to protect the creature, but it was like very artistic. very weird in a good way for me. I really the kind of weird that I really like. The sound and the music was very good in my mind. I did see one movie that I will say go the other way. Don't recommend necessarily unless you're like a super diehard PlayStation fan. Until Dawn, based off of a video game. I don't know much about the game, but the movie was not very good on almost every front. So sorry about that. Only other thing I'll say, we're watching through Yellow Jackets currently, and about halfway through season 2, and it's been so good.
Really?
Yeah.
I've wanted to go back and watch it, but I haven't.
It's great.
Yeah, I needed
It's
something
dark.
to like kind of fill that like lost hole in my
Yeah,
heart.
it's like it's got some like Lost vibes, like Stranded and stuff, but it's like way darker than Lost.
Okay.
Like a lot of horror, like subtext almost, which is great for me.
Which is great for you. You're right.
What about you?
So I did my first to be or not to be or to be frank, whatever I thought about starting up. And just make a portion. I watched a movie called Once Bitten, starring Jim Carrey. It's one of his first movies ever. It's on Tubi. Yeah, so I'll probably post about that on social media sometime soon. Maybe start that as a little fun thing for you guys to join me on social media. And then last night, we're talking about like these movies, like Dead Man Walking is a great movie to talk about this. Like movies that just give an emotional impact and make you think and make you consider all sides and really continue thinking about it. And Alyssa and I watched Do the Right Thing last night. It's on Netflix right now. If you have not seen Do the Right Thing, watch Do the Right Thing. It is probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. That is a bold statement for me to say. But it is pretty consistently up there whenever I mention like my top 5 movies. Do the Right Thing. It will give you every emotion, truly. It will give you anger. It will give you laughter. It will give you sadness. It is sadly one of the most relevant films year after year, and you'll see why in this movie. But Do the Right Thing. Watch it. It is Spike Lee's best movie, hands down. So
what year is that?
That is 1989, I believe. Yeah, we won't catch that one.
I couldn't remember when exactly it fell, so I was honestly hoping that it was like coming up in the next couple years. But
no, unfortunately, I would love to just do a deep dive. I'd love to do a whole SpikeLee deep dive and go through all those.
Toss it in the director's hat.
We could. I haven't even done the Wells one, Orson Welles one yet.
Hey, we're barely at the half-year mark.
I know, right? We've still got time. We usually do 2 a year.
Yeah.
So yeah. Definitely, I cannot recommend that movie enough to watch it. So, but if you want more recommendations from us, or you want to see new movie trailers, or you want to see fun little YouTube videos that get posted in that are about movies that we love, check out our Discord. Join our Discord server. And like I said, you're always welcome to follow us on Instagram. That's where I'm going to post most of the things about like when streams are going to happen, because summer's about to approach and we're going to have a lot of like traveling and a lot of like vacations. So we're going to try and, keep you up to date on those times if you're on on Instagram. You also can check out my Letterboxd account as well. All those links are available on the links here in the wherever they are, whether you're watching on YouTube later or you're watching on Twitch now, it's below. Just click on these links down there below Sister Schubert there and check us out. Also, next Saturday.
Ooh,
next Saturday, this coming Saturday, we're going to continue our theme of
Schmidt. Where are you?
Wait, did I go away?
No, you're here.
Okay, we're going to continue our theme of
a white man. No.
There we go. Never gets old. Never gets
Love
old.
it.
Never gets old. And we're going to be doing in our next week's movie is Nixon, about Richard Nixon, the president. Ever heard of him? It is a movie by Oliver Stone. It is 3 hours and 10 minutes long. So, yeah, who doesn't love a 3 hour and 10-minute movie about Richard Nixon? A lot of great stuff that's going to be going on there. So we'll be doing that this Saturday. I will figure out a time to do that with my guest. And then always, we've got our extra credit theme going on right now, which is called Back to the Future, where our films tackle futuristic worlds and the sci-fi genre. We're talking about Tank Girl, Johnny Mnemonic, Judge Dredd, The City of Lost Children, and Virtuosity. If you need help on those, just let us know in the Discord, or you can follow me on Letterboxd for those. That podcast will be on Wednesday, May 28th at 6 p.m. So join. Don't shake your head.
None of those are Back to the Future.
They're not. Some of them are like futuristic places. I would say Johnny Mnemonic is definitely in the future, and Virtuosity is definitely in the future.
None of those have Michael J. Fox in them.
None of them have Michael J. Fox in them, though. Hey, you guys want to scrap this whole thing? Just watch Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. I'm game. I'll sit here. I'll do that every week. That'll be the new format. We just sit here and we talk about Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3 every week. Every week.
Every week.
Every week.
Oh, gosh.
So just definitely join us for that. Also, we've got we had started our month in 52, our pop dance month in 52/1995 music. Join us Tuesday for that. That's usually at 6 p.m. This week's album is Post by Bjork.
Okay.
Hopefully you know, get on that. Listen to Post by Bjork. It is one of the strangest albums that I've listened to so far. So it's interesting. But that's it. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time on 52/1995. Enjoy the outro. We'll see you next time, slashers. This is for you, sister.
What a year, what a time. Big screens, dreams, and movie rewind. From talking toys to heists gone wrong. We're watching it live and singing along. 52/1995. Grab some snacks, we're going live. Action, drama, comedy gold. We're reliving the stories told.
One movie a week.
All year long.
Let's roll the tape.